Well, everybody, welcome back to Lee's podcast. I know it's been a while, but I am back, and I think I'm going to call this season 2.
Okay.
And of course, my first guest is always going to be my lovely wife. How you doing, honey?
I am good.
I hear you got that cough going on now, just like the first time we came on, right?
I do. It is fall, and it is allergy season again.
We're going to start giving everybody this taste of this ASMR stuff, right? The hearing of you sucking on that cough drop.
Cough drop.
So anyway, I want to start off, and I'm just calling it season 2 because obviously there was a break over the summer. And if anybody's wondering why I didn't put anything out there, it's because it was the summer, right? We had family trip. We went to Colorado. Kids had summer school. I just didn't want to juggle doing a podcast, scheduling people to come in to do a podcast with me when I have other stuff going on. So it was only fair to kind of take that break. So anyway, this is going to be season 2 of my podcast. This is going to be the episode number 1, season 2. And so, of course, I have you on here. So let me ask you this, okay? And I know this is not scripted. I mean, a lot of the stuff I do, I kind of tell people ahead of time, but this is not scripted. What'd you think of our summer?
Busy. I kind of want to do it over and just sort of relax.
Busy as in how? Like the kids, the trip?
I almost feel like every weekend we were doing something, had somewhere to go, something to do. It was just busy. And then work.
Work. You had your garden.
My garden was just a wildflower. And I think that's my like. I try to plant some plants, and I spend way too much money, but my wildflowers are only $1.99, and oh my goodness, they look beautiful.
Now they do, right? It's nice and lush in the backyard. Well, side yard.
Side yard.
But how did you think of our trip to Colorado? Because it was beautiful. Whoever's never been to Colorado, we went to the Rocky Mountains. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful over there.
I liked our trip to Colorado. It was a road trip, so it was kind of long that way, but we went with my brother and his family, and I think that made it fun this time. It
did, and the girls had Chloe to play with. And
Mia.
And Mia. Oh, yeah. Yes, and we didn't rush to get there. We went to Iowa first.
Farmers market. A lot of my family in Iowa does farmers market, so we stopped in Des Moines, Iowa. And if you've never been to a farmers market, try that one. Or if you like going to farmers market, that one's a pretty cool one to go to.
That one is huge, though. For Iowa, that is the biggest, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And so we walked there. Your brother-in-law, Tier, went fishing with Neil. So we went fishing, found a few spots that your cousin kind of recommended.
Not my brother-in-law, my brother.
I'm sorry, your brother. No,
your brother-in-law.
My brother-in-law, your cousins recommended. Your cousins in Iowa. Yes, we met up with them. And then we kind of took our time to get to Colorado. We went to a few spots for fishing because Tier wanted to go fishing.
And we didn't have a good catch and
cook.
No. It didn't work out.
I feel so bad, Tier, if you're listening, man, because, man, I was hoping to put you on fish, but we didn't. We didn't catch anything.
But it was still fun.
Yeah.
I think all the different locations, right? Because then we were in Nebraska, and we did some fishing there.
Yeah.
In 2 different cities in Nebraska.
And just being in Colorado, I think in Denver specifically, we did a little bit more this time around, didn't we?
Yep, a lot of food.
Yes.
A lot of Yes, a lot of food.
A lot of food, shopping. I took my mountain bikes. Well, my mountain bikes because I have one, and Neil and Tristan, I took theirs. And so, man, that was a highlight for me. I know we talked about it as a family, and my highlight was the mountain biking that we did on those bike parks that we kind of just went because it's free there. Oh, my goodness. If anybody who is out there that's listening and you mountain bike, you got to go to Colorado. It's beautiful out there, What was the highlight for you, the Colorado trip?
My family.
Your family? Okay. Spending time with them? Not the shopping?
I was trying to limit my shopping because we have so many things to do this fall. Like our personal trip and Tristan going to tour colleges. So then I was trying to limit my spending.
I want to talk about that in a little bit, but stick to summer. But yes,
So some of my decision making was based on some of the things that we have upcoming. Otherwise, I could have shopped. So,
more.
and then we rented a 15-passenger van, so I had space, and I wanted to go antique shopping so much.
No,
It didn't happen. Also, because my brother does not know what antique shopping is. The city we stay in was on the
Esther Park.
Yep.
Yep.
And it was at the edge of the Rocky Mountains. And he thought there was plenty of great antique shopping. Well, those are not antique shops. So if you're listening, Vane, those are not antique shops. Those are boutiques, and they were pricey.
Were they more like gift shops then?
Yes. Lots of
Okay.
gift shops, lots of cute little mountain kind of
Souvenir
Western
stuff.
clothing.
Yeah. But I think the park itself, because we went to the park early that morning.
The Rocky Mountains. Yep.
Yep, into the Rocky Mountains. Oh man, it was beautiful. You know, you see elk. You do
We
see
saw
elk,
a black bear.
black bear at night. Yep.
And when we were in the Rockies, remember one side?
Oh yes, that's right. It wasn't more than 20 yards from us, I believe. You know, and it was just kind of doing its own thing while we were on the hiking trail.
Yep.
But if it's beautiful. I think if we had more time, I would love to do the Rocky Mountains, but just you and I. Because we always talk about going to Colorado, but just you and I, so that we can do our own thing without the kids and without other family members. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The other really cool thing that I saw was backpackers who were going to stay overnight. And remember, I said, you and I and the boys should do one of those trips.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're willing to do one of those trips with me.
I was just about to say, I don't like camping. I don't like being cold and wet feet in the morning. And that's why I haven't done it. But I like it like in the magazines where it's scenic and we could have a tent and I could pretend to enjoy my coffee because I don't really like coffee neither. I drink more sugar than I do coffee. But I could fake it till I make it, right?
There you go. Yeah, but it was beautiful up there. And then where we stayed at, it was,
It was nice.
it was nice. It wasn't, we didn't have the scenery and we didn't have the view, but we're close by,
Yeah.
It
was a walk
A
to see the view.
Yeah.
It was still pretty.
The other highlight for me was Top Golf.
Yes.
You didn't play.
And you picked up a new hobby.
I did.
I didn't play because I have a bad shoulder that I'm still working on.
So Top Golf, and I have to give credit to Tiger because he's like, let's go play Top Golf. I'm like, okay, well, let's go. And since then, thanks to him, I'm into golf now.
I know you sure learn a lot from Tier this summer.
I sure did, didn't I?
Yeah.
So
fishing, golfing, getting the girls into sports.
Getting the girls into sports, yes. And so anyway, I'm into golf. Whoever's listening, if you know me, I tend to pick up a few hobbies here and there. I hunt, I fish. Last year, I bike. Last year, I started duck hunting and pheasant hunting. Obviously, we had that on the podcast, but I don't know.
Pick something.
I know one thing, but I'm a jack of all trades. I like to be good at everything. Well, what is that? What is that phrase? It's something like you're good at everything, but you're not a master of anything. Or anyway, that's me. So, but with that being said, that's our summer, right? Colorado was a big thing. Girls went to summer school. Now school is about to start.
It started.
Well, it started for us, and we're recording this on Monday, Labor Day. And so when I drop this, hopefully sometime this week or next week, kids already started school. But as of today,
both our kids have been in school for 2 to 3 weeks now.
Yep. So. And then some kids like MPS, they haven't started yet. They'll start tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, start of school. Goodness gracious, back to the routine of dropping them off, picking them up. So parents, if you're listening, you know how we feel if you have to transport your kids.
But this year, our oldest is a senior. And for me, first day of school was kind of bittersweet. I woke up, made lunch for them, packed it, went to brush my teeth, came out, and they were gone.
Yes.
We didn't get any first day pictures.
And it's significant this year because Neil is a freshman, and they're going to the same high school.
Mm-hmm. And Trishan's a senior.
Yep. And so, but You could have still taken it when they got back. It's not the same.
No, when I got back, they were already out of their school clothes.
Put it back on. But it's great that we got Neil into the same school as Tristan, and it's Marquette. If anybody lives in the area, Marquette High School, it's an excellent school to send your kids to. It's very expensive, but we obviously, we got the choice program, and so they're going there for free. And then college tour. Let's explain our college tour, at least over the weekend.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day, like when we were taking Tristan to Indiana, I was thinking, well, our parents didn't do this with us, and we turned out just fine. We went to the University of Milwaukee, and it was just fine, right? We both got jobs.
Yes.
And here we are touring this very expensive need-based school, right?
Which is, can you say the college?
Say the name of the college.
We went to go tour Notre Dame, right? It's a Jesuit school. Tristan wants to keep within.
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's a Catholic school, but
I thought it was a Jesuit school. No, interesting. Marquette is.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just a Jesuit school along with Xavier, and St. John in them, but they're just another Catholic university. Yeah. Okay.
But Marquette is still a Catholic school.
It's
just the different priesthood or brotherhoods that started the school.
And we did tour Marquette already.
Marquette, the university.
Marquette University, yep. Yeah. Obviously, he goes to Marquette High School. And there's no association.
Yep.
But what did you think of Notre Dame? First thing that comes to your mind, and I know mine. And
it was so beautiful.
Yes.
It made me want to go back to college. That's why it got me thinking about my parents and how they didn't do this for me, right? And I'm almost willing to overpay for an education.
Just to go back to that.
Almost.
And it is a beautiful campus. It's one of those campuses that you kind of see in the movies, right? It's just very scenic, old and buildings.
Peaceful, calm.
Yep. And that huge football college.
Yep.
Huge football stadium that is right on campus, The great thing about Notre Dame is that it's kind of like its own little community. Mm-hmm. It's not like Marquette where it's part of Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame is its own little community. Is it gated? It's not. Gated. It looks, but it's not.
I think it is. It might be. I saw a YouTube thing that said it was its own community with its own gated fence. And
obviously, it has its own police force. Right. The difference is that Marquette is part of Milwaukee, and so you're walking, you'll see other people. Even Madison. Are we going to go see Madison?
I think so.
Okay. And Madison obviously is part of Madison, UW-Madison, and it's, you see, public people walking around and stuff, but if you're on campus at Notre Dame, you're pretty sure you're just with students. I'm surprised how small the campus is. Well, not the student to professor, student to faculty ratio, which is, what was it, honey? It was like 8-1 or 6-1. 9-1. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, that's ideal if you're going to go to a college, but it's obviously a lot more expensive. So school's coming up.
Our son is kind of sentimental, so I think he might just end up staying close to home.
Yeah. Or Madison if he decides, because Alex goes there. Aunt Mary's over there. But we'll see. If you're a parent that has a senior, if you can comment or you can share if you have time, and tell us, how is your senior reflecting, or not reflecting, but how is your senior responding to getting ready for college, right?
Or preparing
for college, application, financial aid, scholarship. So we have ours, and we're going to keep that to ourselves. But if you have it, comment in below. Seriously, how are they doing it? Or even if you had a senior, he's not a senior anymore, and he's in college, or maybe he's done. What was your experience with your student, with him or her getting ready for college?
And as a parent, which we sort of had an argument or a conversation about, is, as a parent, do you feel like you need to pay for your child's education, or should they do it on their own?
Yeah.
Some ideas would be good for us first time.
Yeah. So if you have any advice for us, Tristan is our oldest. There's going to be a lot of firsts for us, and this is one of them. So would you prefer for us to pay to go to a college that he wants to, or just keep it cheap, keep him closer to home, maybe, I don't know, somewhere, a public college instead of a private one. So, but school's starting, obviously, so everything's coming up. So that's out of the way, but I want to get into a few things I want to talk to you about. And you have no clue about what I'm going to talk about, right?
No clue.
No clue. Okay. So, and we kind of had this discussion a few weeks back, and it still bothers me because I want to preface it by saying that I am the man of the house. Am I not?
I think if you were asking some people in my family or your family, I wear the pants.
Yes.
And I am very proud of that.
Here's the thing, okay? I've heard that, obviously we hear that phrase, we use that phrase, depending on who you're using it or who you're saying it to, it could be kind of offensive, right? For me to hear it, I'm kind of offended, to be honest. Like they think that you wear the pants in the family, which I don't think that's the case. What do you think?
Well, I've never seen it that way because I think even though it comes off that way because I'm much more impulsive than you are and I'm more rushed to make decisions, my decision is also, I'm making decisions based on history decisions that we made in the past, right? So I'm still making my decisions with you in mind, but there are some things that I know are just good for us. And so then I just take the lead because if I wait for you, it's never going to happen. And so I think that's where people get the idea that I wear the pants.
Well, I mean, I would like to think, and I've shared this with you also, I would like to think that it's an equal partnership, isn't it?
It is.
Every marriage is different. I think the perception is that because the woman, the wife, vocalized her opinions more, which means she has more say. Well, not necessarily, because the fact that because she vocals her opinion could be reflective of the husband also. And I've seen that where the wife talks more than the husband, but the wife also shares the same opinion as the husband because they talk maybe in private, right? And so what she says also reflects his. But because he doesn't speak up, well, she wears the pants in the family. Well, no, not necessarily. Anybody that knows me knows that's not the case. And if there is, and we've gotten to pretty heated discussion, arguments about it because there's somewhat a power struggle. At least it is like who is making these decisions, right? So at the end, we do kind of share and we do kind of compromise on these things. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
nobody knows our relationship better than ourselves, right?
That's true.
And so, I don't know. I've never thought of it as me wearing the pants until people are telling me, and I'm like thinking, oh my goodness, I must be some kind of woman. But if I was wearing the pants, it would always be my way, and I would be a really, really happy wife, but I'm a happy wife. So I don't think I'm wearing the pants because everything doesn't always go my way, right?
And I don't get my way also, right? So again, it's a give and take,
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I kind of want to do a podcast with you, maybe a later podcast where we can talk specifically about the give and take within our own marriage. I mean, we don't have a perfect marriage, but we do talk about our marriage, and I'm not sure how other people are if they're quiet about it. It's specifically our older siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
With some of our older siblings, I'm not sure. I don't talk to my brothers. Hey, what do you talk to your wife about? But we do have conversations, and we do talk, and we do share. And I do tend to have more conversations with you than I think my brothers do. And again, that's my assumption, And to what degree and to what depths are those conversations that they have is different than what you and I have. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, I want to say that for another podcast. Kind of want to go into specifically our marriage and what that. But today, I do want to focus on a few things, which is one, the lingo that people use, that you wear the pants in the family, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not. I don't know. And again, we said our piece, but I think it's an equal partnership. Mm-hmm. Here's another lingo. Okay, I'm going to throw this at you. And again, and I don't want to. Let's see here. I have to be careful. There's a family member of yours, right? And she has expressed that she does not like the term baby mama. Have you heard that before?
No.
You're the baby's mama, right? So what do you think of that phrase? Like if someone's to say, hey, you're the baby's mama.
I don't know, because I don't even, like, I don't know.
You have no opinion?
No.
Okay.
Because now I'm thinking more about which family member said that versus your
Well, don't focus on
statement.
the,
But I haven't heard that statement.
but do you think that that's derogatory, or do you just think that, oh, that's just a phrase, you know? But it's all very subjective, don't you think, you know?
Yeah.
If you think about it, because for some people, they're okay of accepting, oh, okay, I'm the baby's mama, but for some, they don't like that term because, you know, you're not just the baby's mama. You're the mother. Right? I'm the mom. I'm not the baby's mama, right? It's kind of a ghetto way of saying it.
Oh.
No, you never.
Sorry, I
All
don't have
right.
any opinion. No, maybe so.
I say that because it goes along the line of you wear the pants in the family, baby's mama, you know, daddy's baby, baby's daddy. You know, it's those those terms and those lingo that I'm thinking that could be very offensive to some people.
It could be. I don't know.
Can you think of any?
No.
No? All right.
I'm kind of getting old, so I'm not really good on my slang and stuff. You know, Serenity was supposed to teach me, but she started school, so I guess I won't learn those terms.
It's okay. But some of those terms, anyway, I just think that there's, like, the words we use have to be a little bit more more thoughtful, you know, and obviously we use those so often that it just becomes the norm. But again, it's very subjective. We don't know how that person is going to respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I also want to talk about this podcast, and we're kind of jumping all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this podcast, what do you think so far? I know this is, again, I said it's season 2. I know our last guest had asked you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a little bit while I was talking to Kane. So what did you think about the podcast so far up to this point?
I think it's been good. And what she asked me was, what did I think when you said you wanted to start this?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think because you are always supportive of my ideas and the things that I want to do, right? And even though we argue about it sometimes, or like I'm arguing hard for my position, like I want to return that. So if this is what you want to do, I'm supportive of this. I'm not supportive of the hunting, the golfing, but I haven't said much about the golfing either. So
Because that has not happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. And this is a lot easier to take than some of those sports because this is right here in our basement, and
I'm home.
mm-hmm, I could be screaming at you from upstairs, and
Yeah.
But it's been fun. It's been a really fun journey, and I know that a lot of people that we've been speaking to are family members or friends, right? I listen after it airs, but I really enjoy having the one-on-one conversations upstairs with the guests, with our family and friends that has come here to talk to you. I enjoy that time.
More than, well, yeah, I would agree. I think for me, obviously, I have a different perspective because I'm sitting here having the conversation. Mm-hmm. But the conversation we have upstairs is very natural. Not that this isn't, but it's a lot more relaxed, you know. And there's a lot more that is shared, obviously, because it's something that maybe they don't want to share on the podcast. So I think up there we get a little bit more information. You know, there's more honesty that comes out. There's more truth, or not more truth, but more information, right? More facts that comes out. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Like the other guests, Jer said, it was mostly females that I have. Mm-hmm. And I do. If you're listening to the podcast, it's mostly females. It's because the fact that most guys that I asked don't want to come on because most guys, would you say, aren't talkers?
Sharers. They're not willing to share.
That's true.
I don't think they're not talkers.
Depends on the topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're talking about emotional stuff and maybe they don't want, maybe if I have them in here to talk about hunting and fishing, golfing.
I don't know if you could get someone like that in.
I'm trying to get my brother to come in. Julie, I'm calling you out, buddy. Trying to get my brother to come in, but it's okay though, and I'm okay with it. So if you're listening, if I call you up and say, "Hey, would you want to do a podcast?" I always tell them it's okay to say no, right? Because it's not for everybody, And if you want to share, you can, because sometimes, like C shared something that was very personal, right? It's very personal, and I thought that was awesome that she's able to do it, but not everybody is willing to share stuff like that, Nyanza, right? The death of Yi Yang, right? My brother-in-law. That is very personable, and it's something that not a lot of people is willing to share, and it's very hurtful. Not hurtful, but it's very, it still hurts them, right? And they get depressed about it, but it's something that they're willing to share, Like, would you be willing to share? You're my wife. Would you be willing to share something?
No.
No, see? So
I only want to share the good stuff.
So if you're listening, if I call you, or like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? Hey, it's okay to say no. My nephews, they've said no. My brother,
I've said no.
You say no. I'm glad you're here, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Listen, everybody, it took me convincing my wife several weeks to even come down to do this.
Yeah.
And though I would like for you to come in and fill in with me more often, but I know
it is what it is.
It's not for everybody. Yeah. So, but a few things about the podcast, if you don't mind me just kind of rambling on, is that it's always difficult. It's always difficult to find guests, and I always have ideas. And I was talking to Jer about this earlier. Is that it's always hard to find guests. I have ideas, but it's always hard to find guests that have experienced those. Because you and I, we can have a conversation about
nothing.
Yeah, or whatever, right? It could be about whatever, but we have no experience, or we've never gone through it. Then it's a little bit more difficult to share, right? So, but if I do, I think Diana had a great idea of me putting an application out there. So I might do that. We'll see, So if I do the application, I'll put that out there. I'll let people know if you want to come on my podcast. In my podcast, I am able to call you on the phone and record everything at the same time, So, but I haven't. Kind of don't want to use that feature, but I kind of like to see people face to face. So, anyway, anything else, honey? Anything else coming the rest of this year? What do we have coming up?
More college tours.
Yes. My hunting.
Your hunting.
It's coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Our trip. Or you don't want to talk about the trip?
I haven't booked.
Yeah. And where are we going? You can't pronounce that either.
No.
We want to go to Cancun.
I want to go to Cancun.
Well, I'm coming along too.
Yeah.
All right. And anybody that knows me know that I do not fly, but I'm willing to fly for you.
Sure. And I've been stocking up on my holiday vacation dresses. So,
I mean, those.
I've been buying a whole bunch of dresses just in case we go.
Oh, to wear on the beach and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're listening also, hey, any suggestion, because we want to do the Cancun trip, but we want to do an all-inclusive, right? Or what's the other one? We just go and we can go about, or does it have to be inclusive?
I don't know. Everything I see is more inclusive, and I think that's what we should do. But
it's cheaper, though, isn't it? Like, everything's there, the plane flight, food, and then if we want to pay for extra, like scuba diving and stuff like that, we'll have to pay for that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you figure that out, and if we do go, we can do a podcast about it.
And that is part of the frustration for me. You're like, let's go. And then you're like, whatever you come up with. But those are things that will get me emotional, and I don't know if that's something you want on this.
Well, maybe not. Let's not do that then.
Yeah, because we won't go there.
But it's a trip that's coming up, and we'll see what happens, and if we do go, we'll come back on and we'll share what our experience was. Mm-hmm. So, anything else? I know. Anything else coming up? Hey, did you want to do another pheasant hunting with me?
No. I'm all done. I would rather just go over to the farm and buy some, bring it home.
Yes. Okay? I'm going to ask you this. What's the problem with shooting those pheasants?
There's lots of
little BBs.
Yep.
And if there's 3 of us, 4 of us shooting,
it is damage good.
Yes.
Toss.
Yeah, I would agree.
Target practice. or more than food.
If you're pheasant hunting, man. But the thing is that we all shot it because we weren't sure we're going to hit it. So when we do hit it, it's not good anymore. It's not good anymore. So if you do want to actually eat the pheasant, just buy it. The place that we go to, they'll actually give you a little cage or something, and then you can bring it home. And then they're really trustworthy. And, if they want you, you can take it back. They're not going to be like, hey, you have to pay us for it, at least for the cage, right? So, but we'll see. I still have hope for you to go with me.
Not going to happen.
Anything else?
Not that I could think of.
Nothing that you could think of. But anyway, this is the very first podcast for season 2, and I'm gonna officially call it season 2. And so again, I'm not sure if I'm gonna drop everything on Wednesday like I did in season 1 or earlier this year. It depends on my availability. I might kind of spread it out throughout the week. It might not be every week either, to be honest. And so it all depends on the guests that I have coming in, and if I can get guests coming in to talk. I was talking to Jessica, and I did her podcast already. I haven't dropped it yet, but I jokingly said to her that when she comes back, my podcast might not be around. So who knows? But again, if you're willing to come on, please let me know. So anyway, thank you everybody for sticking around up to this point. If you like what you're listening to, please consider subscribing, share, and like. All right, thank you.